Aspirational values are when you're sort of making some model of something that you want to be. That's not really helpful, like, because it doesn't tell you who you are and it doesn't tie to those experiences again where you really liked things that were quiet because you grew up where you didn't have any quiet, right?
Just because you can't doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that, like you said it yourself, that's fine. Let's let it be fine that we don't have to do every little thing and feel bad about ourselves if we are just not that type of person. I think it's a trap that a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yeah,
fall into.
burnout.
Hey, hey, hi, Vibin' It homies. Welcome back to another amazing episode of one of your favorite podcasts. Hi, Vibin' It. Today, we have a very special guest that is going to help you with the goal of our show, which is to live your most aligned, inspired, just blissful, magical, magnetic life. And core values play a huge part in that. And today, we have an expert on the topic who can help us with that. His name is Mr. Robert Glazer. He has a new book coming out in October, The Compass Within, which is a little story about the values that guide us. It's really cool. It's really cute. It's kind of a different self-help book. It's not super self-helpy. It's more of a story, which I love.
Yeah.
Great way to learn. And he's a best-selling author, you guys. So he has lots of good stuff to say. He's also the host of the Elevate podcast, which has millions with an S of downloads. And yeah, he's also the founder and chairman of the board of Acceleration Partners, which I'd love to hear more about that. And all around, he's just a cool guy with cool hobbies too, which maybe we'll get into that later. So, Robert, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and I'm glad we could all make our audio work
Yes,
since we all were
literally.
having problems, but it seems like
goodness.
we figured them all out.
Robert, we're very excited to have you. And we always like to start the show off kind of introducing you to the people in case they don't know, where you come from or your background. So I'm sure you've answered this question many times, but one more time for the people. What do you do? How did you get to this space? And, what makes you so passionate about it?
Yeah, so what I do now, I'm spending majority of my time now, well, launching a book, but working with other businesses and founders and people who are growing their businesses and trying to solve some of the issues I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've run several different businesses, the largest of which is a company called Acceleration Partners. It's a partner marketing agency, about 300 people around the world. I'm now a board member. I've sort of transitioned out of the day-to-day active role in that as I lean kind of more into my writing and my work. And over the years, as I kind of looked for different ways to build our organization and build leaders, I kept coming back to this concept of values, and both for the organization, which we hear people talk about, but this is more about like how individuals can understand what they value and use that to become better leaders and make better decisions. I saw the impact that this work had, and I decided like that's where I kind of wanted to spend my time and energy, and so that's what I'm doing now. And I have my BHAG, particularly with the book, and I have a lot of goals around financial or otherwise, but really for the next 5 years, it's how do I help 1 million people figure out their core values? Because I think where the world is today is we're very tribal. I see particularly young people making all kinds of incongruent decisions that don't make sense because they're being pulled into sort of tribal political things, and like your values are what let you like stand in stone a little bit when like everything else is kind of in the storm around you.
Yeah,
Oh, I love
that
that.
is amazing and perfect. And like on our show, we talk a lot about, manifesting your best life, living super intentionally. And I feel like just from myself working with people and witnessing clients and hosting retreats and stuff and like getting women on the path of like an aligned life, like step one is like, what are your values? Let's
Right.
discover them and
Aligned
put a
to
name
what,
to them.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Aligned to like what? It's not just this fantasy dream life. It's like, what do you value and how can we make every decision and choice and action a reflection of that so that you are in true alignment? So I'm really excited to talk about
Yeah.
values. When did it become like most obvious to you that this was like a key pillar of, I guess we could call alignment or happiness or success?
So in 2013, my business was just getting off the ground. I was invited to this very exclusive leadership kind of retreat put on by Entrepreneurial organization in Washington, D.C. with like 25 people out of the whole 10,000 person organization. So I came to this thinking, great, I'm going to learn all this stuff on how to manage and lead people. And the first couple of days, I like to say, was like this just big mirror, like back at us, like, who are you? What do you value? And like figure that out first. And ironically, they got us to really think about values and all that stuff, but they didn't tell us how to figure them out. And I was like, wow, I think I'm really values oriented. I think I'm one of these people who's been sort of managing this blindly. The analogy I use is like, in the book, imagine in the end of the book, imagine you're driving down a tunnel and you have a really nice car. And I turn on the lights in that tunnel. What's going to happen? You're going to drift to the right wall. You're going to scratch the car. You're going to come back to the middle. You're going to go to the left wall. You're going to scratch the car. You're going to get out of the tunnel and like you're probably going to be alive, but the car's going to look like shit. Like that's sort of how we operate. If I turned on the lights and you saw the yellow lines, the walls are your values. You saw the yellow lines, you wouldn't even get near the wall. And so for most of us, I think that's the thing. We know when we're going against our values, but we don't know it until we're like, the car has hit the wall.
Yeah.
And the paint's being kind of graded. So I was like, look, I want to figure this out. And I went online, I found a bunch of one-word keyword list things and stuff. And as I talk about, like, one-word values really don't work for the type of decision-making and things that I'm talking about that you can do with values. And so I ended up figuring it out and I started talking about it and I shared, and we built a training program for the leaders at our company, and they started helping them figure out their values so they could lead better. Saw incredible results, was like, look, I want to get this to more people. I took a course, I launched it as a course. I talked about it in my book. But like a lot of people like don't go directly into a course. And so I needed a story to kind of connect them to this. And that's where I thought, like, I'll write a book, but it'll be like boring to write a book on core values. So how do I make it more interesting?
That I love, because when I was looking through the book, I was like, wait a minute, this got characters. Like, what is going on? And I was like, this is really cool. It's not just like, here's what to do step by step, which, is valuable, but that certain layout may not work for everybody. But you want to read a story, you want to read someone's journey. And I think that that's what makes this book so cool.
Right. And you relate to that, right? Everything in the formula at the end that you are told explicitly is in the story. And so you can either see it and then be told it. Look, you are probably, there's a handful of friends and family podcasts who have read the book before it comes out. Multiple people have said to me, oh, I totally resonated. I thought you were writing about me at that moment because Jamie's a conduit to sort of connect us to these different things that we have had in our lives where we've seen it with a boss or with a partner or in our community. And I think it makes people think about themselves. And then again, at the end, you're very explicitly sort of told in the nonfiction way, here's what values are, here's what they aren't, here's how to do it. But you just watched it all as the character kind of went through that.
Yeah. So how much of yourself did you put into the main protagonist, Jamie?
It's funny. I've been accused of being Jack. I've been accused of being Jamie. There's a lot of irrelevant truth in the book, like facts and things that don't actually matter, but they're just like, well, Westville's not a real town, but Arlington is outside of Boston. So there's some of me, but there's also totally made up stuff too. So there's little bits of me in both. It's funny because there's some pieces of me in Jack in terms of how I talk, but there's also, Jack is also like the mentor that we all wish we had and that I wish I had. So there's truth woven into a lot of fiction.
Is it a coincidence that they're both named with J, or was that intentional?
No. Yeah, I think it is a coincidence.
I like J names.
My kids are all characters in the book, but they're all secondary characters because I didn't want, to have any sort of debate around that. So they all make brief cameos, each of my kids.
That's cute. I love that. I love knowing that little behind the scenes fact. I'm curious, as far as your values closest to your heart, this is a two-part question. Do you think that people's values change a lot or a little over time or not at all? And currently, what would you say some of your top values are in the format that you laid out of like maybe a one word value is not the most potent,
Yeah.
but
Well, let me try to lead by example here. So my core values, by far and away the most hierarchical. So find a better way and share it. Health and vitality, self-reliance, respectful authenticity, and long-term orientation. And we can dive into what some of those mean. But yes, they all follow my format, or I would be a hypocrite. This question gets asked a lot. Like I think the majority of values, like it's kind of an instruction manual that you didn't get, but you didn't get it because it was kind of forged, like informative experiences in your life. And like, not to sound like a psychologist, but it really does all come back to childhood stuff.
it always does.
Because
Yeah.
it's just how you experience the world. And the difference between me and a therapist, I'm not looking to go back and blame people and victimize, but like, let's just understand it. You were
Right.
lonely, or always felt you had a brother. Like, that's just true. And it probably shapes a lot of stuff. And a lot of our purpose lies close to our pain. So in some ways, like some great stuff came out of it. But if we don't acknowledge that, we're like letting someone else, it's like when you're a student driving and there's a second steering wheel, you're letting someone else kind of drive the steering, whether that you own that. But these things show up in the workplace. They show up how we lead. So I think they can change later in life. Certainly if something dramatic happens, or you have a health scare, or someone dies, or you have a horrible experience, your priorities change. But more what happens, and what's really cool with kind of Jamie, as I described kind of the fireworks experience, when you get this list and you look at it and it's right, you kind of are like, holy crap. Like, it's like the stencil. You're like, it all makes sense now. Why that relationship didn't work out, why I love that job, why I never found that job again. Like, you have this sort of like, wow, like someone finally just explained to me like what I do well and not well, and all of it. So I think most of them, for most people, are pretty hard baked since those kind of teenage formative years.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I would
that makes
also
sense.
question if your values do shift dramatically, then I would say, were those really your values, or were you just under the influence of something else?
Yeah, in fact, you're right. Yeah, it could be the community. Look, again, these are not aspirational. Part of the questions in the whole process is to figure out what actually was true for you and what has been true
Yeah.
consistently, right? And some of the thing is realizing like, oh, that college I went to was not aligned. Like, that is why I didn't like it, or that relationship. So yeah, it's amazing. I mean, one of the questions I asked people on my podcast when we started is like, hey, tell me about yourself when you were like 12 or 13 or like whatever. And it's so connected to what they're doing now
It's so true.
in
Oh my
one
God,
way
hold
or
on.
another.
Can we play this and see what we were doing when we were 13? Because I want to do this.
Yeah,
I'll go first.
go for
Okay.
it.
Go ahead.
Kelsey, you might know this. When I was 12 or 13, and I'm really serious, I would find myself in our local cemetery touching the graves to try to divine how that person had died. And I am now a hypnotherapist who loves doing soul journeys and past lives. So yeah, I was always weird. Will stay weird forever. Kelsey, what were you doing?
Oh my gosh. I was dancing my little butt off,
Oh yeah, ballerina phase, huh?
and I was just always in my like childhood very creative, very, I guess some people would describe like girly, like always wanting to beautify my friends and family. Or like when I was really little, if I was like hanging with my uncle, I'd be like, "Let me put these butterfly clips in your
Yeah.
hair," and he was like,
Oh, you would
"Sure,
have been
whatever."
you were born in the wrong time. You would have been a TikTok beauty influencer at
Right.
14. You would have been a
I
billionaire.
Right? I know if I was just a couple years later,
Mhm.
I would have made so much more money. But it's funny how it all manifested because I did eventually get injured, so I couldn't dance, and that led me to fall into a hairstylist cosmetology route. So I went to beauty school. I became a really successful hairstylist, and now I'm transitioning from that into being more of an author teacher because I love also teaching. And in kindergarten, I used to write these books that my teacher would like laminate and publish for me, and there was like a little author's page and like my story that had the lesson and the morals and whatever. And so looking back, like it's all
Yeah,
there.
makes perfect sense. Do you care to share, Robert, what you were doing when you were?
Sure, yeah.
Let's hear it.
I mean, I was basically being told by all of my teachers that I wasn't like, I was an entrepreneurial kid put into a regular structured curriculum and being told that like sit still and be quiet and like that's what I'm not good at, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so every report card was, yeah, you feel like he could do better, he's smarter, he's not living up to his potential. And so that became a thing, right? And that haunted me. And then I went and over, became a dramatic overachiever and did it too far the other way and realized actually it was a lot of this, what do I want and what are my values and how to do work that's aligned to that and not what everyone else wants from me. So the whole concept of capacity building and my other books, like it's really like I'm trying to solve that problem for my 12-year-old self.
So
Yeah.
not in the cemetery is what I'm hearing.
I was not in the cemetery.
not in the
That was
cemetery. Just me.
Not everyone's a freak, Lynnsey. Just
I
kidding.
can't
I love you.
help it. Okay.
Hey there, it's Lynnsey. Are you ready to transform your life and achieve your biggest dreams? Well, welcome to the Align Your Mind membership. As a seasoned hypnotherapist, I've crafted a digital sanctuary where you can access powerful hypnotherapy audios anytime, anywhere. Imagine waking up each day feeling empowered, confident, connected to the universe, and ready to conquer your goals. With AYM, you'll experience deep, long-lasting transformations in every area of your life. If you're ready to rewire your mind, release what's holding you back, and start living your dreams, don't wait any longer. Just click the link in the episode description and start embodying your highest potential today.
Well,
it's
that
fun.
is very interesting. I invite everybody to ask themselves, what was I doing at that age, and see how it either relates to your life now or how it could, because a lot of people aren't necessarily doing what they would deem their life's purpose. So how could it maybe translate into something they would be happier doing?
Right. Like I talked to someone who like whatever he did now was related to connecting community and being like a very good networker. Well, turns out, he was a military kid. Right. And so that's like a coping mechanism, right? You're dropped in a new school. Like his whole thing was about clubs and bringing people together because he had to learn how to do that. Right. He was dropped in a new school every year. And that was like a coping mechanism.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would love to touch on like how can one break out of the pressure of like what my parents want me to be or what society says I'm good at or this, that, and the other versus like your personal truth. Like how can one connect more to their personal truth and not feel maybe like disconnected from, the tribe in doing so?
Well, you got to figure out your values first, and then that'll help you align. I think, we hear a lot about the first mountain, second mountain in life, and I kind of see it as like 3 climbs that you can choose from. The first climb is like the mountain that you were sort of bullied on by parents or community or whatever, and you're like told this is what you're supposed to do, and you're climbing it, and you never really like the climb, and you don't really like the view, at the top because you never wanted to be doing that in the first place. Right. That's 1. 2 is you're like, I chose this. I want to do this climb. And I like it a lot of the days, but I thought it was just about the summit. And when I got to the summit, it would all be great. And I'd like the view. And you get to the summit and you're like, it's just not as rewarding as I thought. Maybe I actually was also more peer pressured onto this mountain, this climb that I think from. How the third climb is different is it's not about a summit. It's maybe a 5-degree. You're sweating a little bit. It's kind of around this incredible view. You could climb it all day long, right? You could climb it for an hour, for 8 hours, and you'd be super happy either way because you're just enjoying doing it, right? It's fun to do it and the work, and it's not necessarily about just getting to this destination. Most of us are on some version of mountain climb 1 or climb 2 until we figure out climb 3, but it's like the athletes that like love practice. It's hard to, the ones that love practice, it's hard to beat them. Like, cause Michael Phelps would just enjoy 14 hours of practice of swimming a day. Like it's kind of hard to beat that.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And my husband, he is a former professional athlete and he played football and now he coaches at the local high school here. And it's just so cool. Like for him, one of his core values is like giving back to the community and like fostering these young men and like helping them become whoever they want to be through the like vehicle that he knows, which is football. And so it's really cool to see like when he talks about mindset stuff and what his coaches at Ohio State taught him and what he learned in the NFL, like it's all everything that we're talking about now. It's everything about visualizing and connecting to what's true to you and living in alignment with that. You know, like if you don't have the love and the heart and the passion for the process, you're not
Right.
going to get the same
I mean,
result.
youth sports is a physical and mental burnout crisis like going on right now. And I watch like, look, we live in one of these towns, it happens to be a soccer town. You have to play these clubs, kids are playing. And then like kids just quit in high school. They're like, it's just, you know, and these repetitive sports injury, like there's kids who love it, but then it's too much. Like you gotta love it. You want to get better every day. It's the stuff that you're doing when time totally stands still for you. And you know, I was saying last night, my daughter and I talking about running. Like I love how running makes me feel. I hate running, right? So I listen to a podcast. I do anything to distract myself. So like I can't be a great runner, right? I just can't, because like I don't like jump out of bed and want to run 7 miles. I like drag myself out and I'm like, you need to do this like today. And like, okay, let's go. So that's fine, right? But I recognize it has a benefit for me, but I'm never going to be great at it. I'm not like, the world doesn't slow down for me while I'm running, as I'm sure it does for some other people.
Yeah. If I'm running, you better watch out because I'm probably running from something. So you better start running too. Probably not for fun.
And I think it's important that we talk about just because you can't doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that, like you said it yourself, that's fine. Let's let it be fine that we don't have to do every little thing and feel bad about ourselves if we are just not that type of person. I think it's a trap that a lot of people fall into.
Burnout is not the amount of work. It's the things that you do that deplete your energy versus give you your energy. And so I think there's always stuff that you're going to have to do that you don't really want to do and some stuff. But the more you're doing things that create energy, and look, there's the stuff that's aligned to your values is the stuff where like you would spend 10 hours unpaid at night, like figuring it out because you're just in the zone or you're in flow.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a very good distinction. Do you have any other like rule of thumbs or like little hints for us? So looking back at childhood, very insightful.
Yeah. Well, the process starts with these 6 questions. So I have them in the book. If you go to robertglazer.com/6, I just put them on the page so you don't have to take the notes. But they start to ask you these behavioral based questions about the type of environments that you did well in, you didn't do well in, what you would want said about you at your eulogy, what do people come to you for? And basically, it starts to evoke these themes and answers that you can group together that form the basis of kind of these values. And then I have a very specific framework called the core validator, which I think differentiates from all these other one-word exercises in terms of what makes a good actionable core value. So it has to meet 4 tests. So first is, do I have the right theme? Because a lot of people worry too much about the cute name before they have the theme. Naming the wrong value doesn't help you, right? So the first theme is, can I use it to make a decision, past or present? That's ultimate thing is decision-making rubric. So that's a very good test. Can I use it to make a decision? Second question is, when you imagine the opposite, does it strike a nerve? So one of the true tests of a core value is when it's violated, it should feel pretty horrible, for you. So this opposite test is super helpful. Like if we, Lynnsey, Kelsey, if we figured out one of your values, what I would do is I would invent like an opposite archetype. And I would say, like, let's just say, Kelsey, you're focused on gratitude, or it's something with, can't be one word, but gratitude.
Peace and quiet.
Yeah, peace and quiet. So I'd be like, okay, you're at a party and this person comes up to you with a JBL speaker and they're loud and they're in your face and you're just right. So the for those who can see the video, she's getting tight and tense. Like this person like embodies the opposite of her core values. So that's probably like a good sense of, and why she likes working with dead people, right? They're quiet, right? Like this is probably, there's something around quiet or peace and quiet or something. And again, my experience is, if we got into this more, and I'm not a psychologist, it probably comes from either having a lot of quiet or loving it, or an environment that wasn't quiet and it's what you needed, right? Like that just sort of is always the case. We're always running towards something or away from it. So
Now I know why I liked the cemetery so much, because home was so loud. No, it's all coming together.
This is always true. And I say I'm not a therapist, but I ran a services business for 20 years. So all I ever did was people. There was never a product broken or anything. Yeah. So most people are trying to do the opposite. Yeah. So you take a really loud and chaotic place and you go find, quiet. So then the last two questions, when you get the right theme, is it a phrase rather than one word? Because I think that's how you get the meaning. And could I objectively rate myself on it? So back to sort of, one of my values, sort of long-term orientation, right? It sort of meets all of those tests. I can make a decision on it. Like, am I thinking about the long term? When I imagine the opposite, does it strike a nerve? Yes. People that are thinking really short term and not paying attention to the long-term impact and stuff like that really frustrates me. Is it a phrase? And can I objectively rate myself on it? I can be like, you know what? Like, I actually don't love this book launch because I can't focus on anything past 30 days, at this point, but I have to do it, and so I understand that I'm sort of dysregulated. So those are the 4 questions that help really kind of give you values that you can make decisions on and that are helpful as a decision-making rubric.
Hey, hi, Vibin fam. It's Amy Lee McCree. You might recognize me from my multiple episodes with Lynnsey and Kelsey on the podcast. And I get to pop in today to invite you to my Atomic Healing Method Medical Intuitive Certification Program, which is so close to my heart. This is where you get to apprentice with me to learn how to be a medical intuitive in all the ways from A to Z and look inside the body for wellness. Check out the show notes to learn all about it, and I hope to see you there.
Did you know that this show is 100% self-produced and made possible by listener support? If you love the show and want to help us keep bringing you all the good stuff, join our Patreon. Your support helps us cover editing, software, and everything we need to keep this podcast going and growing strong.
As a Patreon member, you'll unlock amazing perks like early access to every episode, extended video content, behind-the-scenes footage, and more. And the best part, if you're one of the next 100 people to join, you'll get our exclusive manifestation toolkit valued at over $100 as soon as we hit our goal of 100 patrons. Head to patreon.com/highvibe to join, and we'll see you inside. Yes.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
ask real quick? Well, I
Yeah.
want to go back to when you said, I think you said, core values are not aspirations.
Correct.
Can you talk about that more? Because they sound like they're pretty good aspirations. So let's talk about how you can differentiate between what you want to do versus.
Yeah. So let's go back to mine. So find a better way and share it. Since I was little, my daughter was telling me this last night. She asked me to clean my room and I would rearrange it. I would try to find a better way to do it. Self-reliance. I was so I wanted to walk to school by myself. Today, if you tell me I can drive home from the emergency room, these things were just very baked into who I was. They're not things that I'm trying to say that I want to be aspirationally. Company values don't work aspirationally either. They have to be who actually are we. So it is that's I think aspirational values are when you're sort of making some model of something that you want to be. That's not really helpful, because it doesn't tell you who you are and it doesn't tie to those experiences again, where you really liked things that were quiet because you grew up where you didn't have any quiet, right?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I needed that explanation because I was like, that sounds awesome. That's fine.
Well, look, this is what companies do, right? Companies do values and they're like, we want to be X and Y. No, what are you? Are you people that? Don't say who you want to be. Look, we all want to live to our core values. That's sort of, I think, maybe where the confusion. You want to be the best version of yourself, but I don't want to pick things that I'm not, right? That's not very helpful.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I'm thinking as you go through all this criteria of one of my values that I don't really judge myself for this anymore, but I feel like other people would judge me as superficial for having this value would be, and maybe you can help me phrase it better, but the importance of making, leaving things more beautiful or spending time in beauty. So for me, I'm highly allergic to ugly spaces, low vibrational places, things where there's a lot of suffering happening. And I became a beautician. So I love to help people feel more beautiful, look more beautiful. I'm obsessed with feng shui. My mom was an interior designer, probably explains some of it. And for me, like, I want people to build a beautiful life. And so as a manifestation teacher, that's what I'm helping them do. So it all kind of revolves around this theme of like improvement,
Right. It could be like
beautification.
make people look and feel better, right? Right. And or
Yeah.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't want to throw you in a war zone, or towards so for you probably watching people go at each other and destroy each other and tear each other down is sort of in your kryptonite zone.
Oh yeah. Worst case scenario,
Yeah.
for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's something to that. And again, if we dug into it, sort of where it came from you, either you watched your mom improve, like I said, a lot of times the same. Maybe you watched your mom improve these spaces and like you were really drawn to that, or I don't know, something else, or you had a horrible scar as a kid and everyone made fun of it, right? These are where these things sort of tend to come from, and that's how you know that you're on the right track, because when it ties to something that was really strong for you, it gets a sense that. So in your case, like you really want to be in situations where you can make things better or improve it. My guess is you buy houses and renovate them, right? Or something like that. I do.
We're moving into that space, but
Right.
yeah.
So find a better order and share it. I have built a house. I have renovated 4 houses. Like it's just what I do. Like it's not fun when it's walk in and it's done. No, I want to figure out, like, give me the one that like the roof's falling in, and like that's more fun.
Transformation.
Yeah, exactly. So it ties to those environments that we really want to be in and where we'll do well.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this. This is definitely more fun than like identifying values from a list, which I do think is a helpful place to start for people.
Yeah, those keywords, the one word, the problem is you end up with integrity, which, by the way, I've heard 6 definitions. So the other one I argue with people about is family. So family is not a value. And why is that? Well, how do you bring that to work? Like, how do you bring that to your friend? The reality is there's something that sits behind family for you that is consistent. First of all, it's a priority. So it sits behind like how you show up to friends, and maybe it's always be present or be a great listener or take care of those close. Like there's a value that actually would explain how you show up in multiple areas of your life, not just your family. And it's actually that thing that underlies it that's more important for you to understand. Because again, I say, okay, your value is family. What happens when drunk Uncle Eddie makes a pass at someone at the wedding? Like, is that okay because he's family, or is that not okay? People need to be more clear about what they mean about that.
I like that you define value. Well, you don't, but you're very explicit about what values are and what the definition is, because it sounds like, well, aspirations is similar. Priorities also similar, but not the same. So I think it's important that we talk about it, because some people are over here like, yeah, family and, relationships and wellness.
Right.
Or
What they mean for family is like build relationships based on trust, maybe. And so that is how they show up for their family, and that is a trusted unit, and that is how they show up for their team. And trust has a whole bunch of problems as a leader. Like, for example, and they have to understand this, that they tend to just sort people on their team into trust or not trust. And the people who aren't trusted don't understand why they're not getting the projects and not getting the stuff, because the leader hasn't said, I don't trust you, but that's their default method of organization. And maybe that trust is so important in their family because probably there was some massive violation of trust in their family. And so they're so focused on that. But people who know this, you're not going to fix it. We're not going to go back. We're not going to litigate the past. This is not therapy, but like, it's either this and you manage with it, or it's driving you in a lot of your decisions and you're not aware of it.
Right. And that's why bringing the unconscious into the conscious is very beneficial, because then you can actually do something about it.
Right. You broke up with someone and you told them all these other things. And the real thing was you just didn't trust them, and you can't be with someone. I talk about the big 3 in the book: your community, your partner, and your vocation. Like, you can't really make those work without core values alignment.
Yeah. Preach. Preaching.
I'm trying to think of like, I know there's a question, like I'm trying to word it right, and I don't really know. I guess one of the questions that I had in the beginning was like, aside from reading this amazing book, which we're going to talk about next, I think, but and like get more into it if we need to. But what if someone comes to you and you're like, Robert Glazer, how do I start to figure this out? And I know we asked those questions, but like, if you were to just give someone one piece of advice to figure it out, would it be the age? Would it be go back and look at 12 or 13? Would it be, find these themes throughout your life?
I would answer the 6 questions. I would start with the 6 questions.
You have one question.
One question?
I know, you can't. It's okay. 6 is fine. 6 is better than 10.
I would take an hour and I would answer these 6 questions and I would look at these things that come up across these lists and be like, like I didn't realize like respect made it in there like 4 times. Like clearly like the respect is important to me or is in here or something. So that is unfortunately, look, the problem I was trying to solve is that all these shortcut things don't produce great outcomes.
This is why we're here.
And looking at a keyword list, and saying, oh, I'm integrity and persistence and whatever, like they sound great. They're just not going to help you, in your life.
How much weight would you say would other people's input have? Like at any point, would you go back and think about maybe common things people have told you if you're having trouble, like figuring it out?
Yeah.
Does
So
that matter?
one of the questions is what help, advice, or qualities do others come to you for? Right. So that puts you in that orientation. And also when you get the initial list of questions, and this is in the course. And by the way, if anyone buys the book through launch week, the course that I've been selling for years, and the book's like $17, you get the course for free. So you can read the book and then the course will help you through it. But it gives you the scaffolding, around it to think about that and answer those questions, and sort of work them. The answers start to be, I think, telling, and when you look at them, yeah.
I had somebody come up with none. They're like, I did your thing and I don't have any values.
No, in fact, they really have too many most of the time.
Okay, when do we narrow it down? That's a good question.
Oh, and I meant to say before at the end, so because I knew I forgot what the original question you asked. After you have a draft list, and we talk about this in the course, you should share it with some friends. Like, does this sound like me? Like, would you say that this is me? And if they're like, oh, Kelsey, that's totally you, like make everything prettier, or whatever it is, then it started. Like, I think that's super helpful. But yeah, so most people have like too many and a little bit of the process to say, are these the same thing? And I'm working on training a sort of chat GPT to do this, help with this kind of on the kill and combine notion, because it's harder than it looks. I have done it so many times. I know how to do it, but you just have to kind of run it through the whole filter, because the filter will tell you, can I make a decision on it? Is it important? Is it differentiated? Like, is this a core? Does the opposite of it really cause discomfort? If not, maybe it's kind of part of something else.
Wait, so this will be fun. Okay, so once you like program chat to help with this process a little bit and filter it out, are you going to like share that link with people so they can use your little chat bot, or are you just
so anyone who gets the course will get it, and
cool.
And they can then they can use it, and basically it has all the logic in it, and so it will say, no, this doesn't meet the test, or it does meet the test.
Yeah, it's a cool use case. I like it.
So yeah, we're still playing around with that.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Yay. Okay. I really want to point people to the book before we head over to the Patreon for a few moments. It's called The Compass Within, a little story about the values that guide us, by obviously Robert Glazer. Where should people purchase it? Where can they review it? Tell us all the details.
You can buy it from any bookstore. Again, if you go to compass-within.com, right on that page, you can pick whatever bookstore, order it, put your name, the order number, everything in the form, and we'll send you the course that goes with the book. The course is normally $100 and the book's $17. So it's a good deal. If you pre-order it anywhere, but that's a good place to sign up for it.
Okay, you said compass-within.com. Okay,
you can also, and robertglazer.com is my website that has the podcast and all the books and Friday Forward and all that stuff too.
Yeah, tell people about your Friday Forward newsletter, because I'm not a part of it yet, but I was reading that you do that and I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds so fun.
Yeah, it started as sort of a note to my team almost 10 years ago. I'm about to write episode number 500, issue number 500. And it was just kind of about getting better. And I didn't have the word capacity building at the time, but it was kind of different tactics and thoughts about getting better and capacity building. And basically people just started sharing it outside of our company and with family. And I ended up opening it up to people, and someone wrote an article and said, this is the only thing I read every week. And then 18 months later, there were like 100,000 people in 100 countries. So I've continued writing that every week for 500 weeks almost. And it's definitely been like a keystone habit in my life that's helped change my life and led to a lot of my writings and books, and a lot of people that hired me to speak are people that have been on the list. And then there are companies like, we need a speaker. It's definitely just evolved into far more than I could have ever imagined.
That's so fun and cool. And like, I have been blogging for some years, and now I'm on Substack also, which is like another fun way. Are you on Substack also?
I moved it to Substack like 2 years ago,
cool.
And I got on, I think, perfect timing before the deluge.
Yeah. If you guys aren't on Substack, by the way, just another plug for Substack. It's a fun place to be, where it's not so much like doom scrolly, not so much video. It's more for readers, people who like essays, people who like articles, people who want to slow it down.
A lot of like whatever the writer of in their niche, right? Like it's like super expert in whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, everyone's newsletters are a little different. Like I know with my newsletter, I write like a weekly little essay or a little blurb or a little love letter, and then I read it too, like so people can listen. If they don't want to like do more screen time, they can just have me like in their earbuds reading it to them. So it's a cool medium. I would highly recommend checking it out. So I'll link to his Substack. I'll link to mine. Everything's going to be linked in the show notes, so you guys can find the book and all these websites and the questions and everything super easily. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to leave the people with, or like a final thought or message before?
No, I think again, it seems really overwhelming, a lot of it, and that's why the book is a story. So read the story, or look at the questions, or spend a few minutes with it. I think I would tell you, if you go down this path and you figure it out, and you're able to word those things and you're able to put them on your desk, your life will change in so many ways. You'll make better decisions. Even Lynnsey will be like, look, I'm going to look for where are things when I could do quietly or process quietly. I call it like black Jetta syndrome. You buy a black Jetta and suddenly you see black Jettas everywhere. And this is like manifestation, right? Some of it is, it's not that there's more black Jettas. It's just that you have a higher level of awareness of them. So one of my favorite stories that was on a podcast earlier today, and the guy's wife like did the core values, did the thing, and realized 2 of her core values tied to education and service. And then the head of the school board role came up in her town, and she never would have thought about it before. And she ended up running for it and getting it, and absolutely loves it. So that's a perfect example of sort of just matching things up.
Yes, I like these success stories. Maybe we'll touch on 1 or 2 more success stories when we head over to the Patreon. But this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom and your book, The Compass Within. Oh, this one's the dirty copy. Here's the clean one. The Compass Within, you guys can see.
Wait, why do you have a dirty and a clean?
I don't know what happened. It was on my kitchen table because I was reading it, and then something got on it. So sorry about that. But I have also a second one.
What?
I don't know how I ended up with 2. I'm going to give this one to my little sister. But yeah, it's a great story, a great book. Robert, you're a fun time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for spending your time. And we're going to head over to the Patreon, you guys. So that's where we do all our extended episodes. You get a little extra time with us, with our guests. And it's just a fun, casual space. So if you want to support the show and hang out with us more, go to patreon.com/highvibe. And I think that's it. Lynnsey, any announcement?
Download my app. I have an app.
Oh, yeah. Lynnsey has a new app.
Store.
Exciting. Tell them about it.
Finally. Did I talk about this already? It's been a while since we've had a moment, but yeah, it's on the App Store, iOS App Store. It's not on Google yet. I'm working on it, but it's called Align Your Mind, and it's all my best hypnotherapy audios. I have EFT in there. I have card pulls. I have hangouts every month that we go and feel into the energy over there. So go to the App Store. And if you don't have iOS, you can always just go to the web link, which I'm going to link in the show notes as well. So you can just go to the mobile browser and you can just get the exact same thing. It's just not an iOS app form. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Just get it. It's fine. It's fun.
Yes.
And we love you.
Therapy at your fingertips.
Yes.
Lynnsey in your pocket.
Yes.
Amazing. Perfect. Well, thanks. We'll see you guys in the next episode.